Welcome to lesson 12 of Youth by Asimov. We're on to essay writing, and today we are going to recap how to write an effective conclusion. We know we'll be successful if we can write an effective conclusion for our essays. That's it, that's all we're aiming for today. It's a nice little short one, but we're going to get really into depth about what it means to create an effective conclusion. So, first things first, what is a conclusion? You should know, you've already done one. But are our conclusions as effective as they could be? We know a conclusion is the last essay of a paragraph, but a lot of the time when people write a conclusion, they just sort of write something so that there's a final paragraph there. It's not necessarily as good a conclusion as it could be, it's just the last paragraph. I still have people in my classes, no matter how many times I've said it, are handing me conclusions that have got quotations in them, conclusions that have got new information in them. These little things that are really frustrating that aren't conclusions, okay? So it's not a conclusion if there's new information. So I've got this brilliant quotation here that was doing the rounds a long time ago. If you can't imagine dropping the mic after your final sentence in your essay, your conclusion needs to be stronger. It's got to be that feeling of, I have absolutely just nailed this, okay? So you've got to be thinking of like the best, most powerful ending to your essay. You should feel great. It shouldn't feel like it's just gone out with a whimper and the best part of your essay was the middle bit. Again, returning to that idea of being a lawyer in a court of law, your conclusion is your closing statement. So when we did the introductions, we talked about how lawyers get to do they get to speak to the jury right at the start of the case, and they get to do their opening statement. Well, lawyers also get to do a closing statement, and during a closing statement, again, they get to directly address the jury and they get to bring it all home. All the evidence that they've brought up, all the pieces that they've talked about, everything that they've gone through, they go through it again, but very, very quickly to make it really poignant so that it's really, really persuasive for the jury. And we want to do the same thing. We want to go back over all of our arguments, summarize our main points, and then end on this really, really strong basis of here's what we've learned, here's what our conclusion is, here is what we've proven. So it's got to be really, really strong and powerful. So you might not have seen this, but this is an acronym I like to use with my class. Summary, example, example, explosive finish. So this is, you go back over your main point once, then you give examples of a couple of things that you've talked about, and you end on that mic drop high note. So just write this down now as your little template. Okay, so to go over again, the summary is you go back over what the main point of the essay was, you give two examples of evidence that you have given, not quotations, just summarize the main body paragraphs, and then you give that final big mic drop finish. So if you have a look here, these are some sentence starters you can use. In conclusion, Asimov makes an amazing character in whatever. We saw this when we are told, or we saw this when this character did this, not a quotation. Again, this was shown through his word choice in chapter 4 when Slim did this. Overall, Asimov does a fantastic job, blah, blah, blah. So it's about giving us a big summary, okay? So you're now going to take the time to make the best conclusion you can. And again, this should not be just a little throwaway ending to the essay. It should make me feel like you've absolutely understood what you were supposed to be doing. It should make me feel completely convinced by your argument, and it should absolutely feel like that Obama mic drop picture at the end. So our learning intention today was just to recap how to write an effective conclusion, and we know we'll be successful when we have finished writing an effective conclusion. So you're going to do that now, and before you send your essay to your teacher, we've got one more lesson on self-editing. So do not send it away once it's done. Hold on to it just a little bit longer. We're going to just make it perfect before we send it off. So I'll see you in the video on self-editing.